And we are recording. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Global Gopher webinar number 1. Welcome and updates. We are now up to 44 registrants as students from around the world are coming in. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. We're now at 65, and it keeps and continues to climb.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start the video, Alex, if that's okay.
Yes, let's do so.
Welcome to the University of Minnesota. Beginning college at the U of M is a powerful opportunity. It is an opportunity to share with thousands of other incoming students from over 140 countries who speak languages and have lived experiences different from your own. Some of you might be living home for the first time or might be the first person in your family to attend college. Some of you might come from a small town that was quiet, where everyone knew everybody and you could see the stars at night. Now, you're in a big city, and you can't help but notice its beauty and chaos. Some of you come from much larger cities like Beijing, New York, or Seoul, and the Twin Cities feels like a small town, where you might be more easily recognized. Some of you will continue to live with your families and are commuting to campus, and you are learning to balance your time on campus with your family responsibilities. Some of you are questioning your identities in the amazing spectrum of gender, sexuality, political beliefs, and spirituality, and you wonder where are your people who will support and connect with you. Some of you are introverts who are continuously learning to live in a world built around extroverts. Some of you have disabilities and have to figure out how you will be supported to gain access to new opportunities. You are entering a powerful and intense time in our country, with unprecedented challenges and conflicts. The University of Minnesota is actively working to be a diverse and inclusive institution, and you'll be called to rise up when you see injustice. But before you solve any problems, know that you will make mistakes, and sometimes you'll be disappointed, and inevitably disappoint others. At times, you might feel lost as you enter this university, but pay attention to who's around you. Who are you choosing to make connections with? Who are you afraid to talk to? Who are you curious about? Whose life inspires you? Who can you make long-lasting friendships with? Don't forget that learning on this campus happens beyond the classroom. Push yourself to learn from someone who might look different from what is familiar to you. Speak with someone who might challenge the way you view the world. Take a risk, ask questions, connect beyond what you currently know. This is the shared opportunity for connection at the University of Minnesota.
Well, welcome and congratulations on becoming a global gopher. You are now officially starting your journey as an international student, and we affectionately call you a global gopher. The webinar is sponsored by International Student and Scholar Services and the Office of Orientation and Transition Experiences, and all of us here are working tirelessly to make your transition to the university as seamless as possible. Guest speakers will also join us today from Boynton Health Services and undergraduate admissions, and we have students here as well that are sharing the student perspective. So the goal of this webinar is to officially welcome you to the university and provide you with information and your next steps to prepare you for your virtual orientation. Many of you have submitted questions already, and we've prepared answers to those questions you've submitted on the registration report. And also, we are going to do another webinar on the 4th. So please sign up for that webinar. So this is a virtual forum. We'll have about 30 minutes of panelists reviewing information, and we'll have 30 minutes devoted to Q&A. And so if you look at the bottom of your Zoom screen here, you'll find Q&A functionality. That Q&A means questions and answers. And so please use that function to ask questions as they occur. We'll have our team over here get them to the right person and work on those answers for you. There's also an option for anonymous questions as well on the Q&A functionality. So this forum is going to be recorded and posted to our webpage. So if some of the information you'd like to review and listen to again, just to get the precise information, you can find that on our ISSS webpage. So you can see that here, issumn.edu. You can see that link up at the top. And now I would like to introduce the Assistant Director in ISS, Beth Isensee.
Good morning, everyone. Before I get started, I'm going to show one more quick video that I think is really helpful as far as thinking about your transition to the University of Minnesota. Well, thanks, everyone. I wanted to show that video because I'm going to be talking about a few things. Oops, to that video. Here, let me get out of here. Good. Well, welcome and congratulations on being a University of Minnesota Global Gopher. You are officially starting your journey as an international student, and as Alex said, we're calling you Global Gopher. We know that you had a choice in where to pursue your academic journey. Thank you for choosing and trusting in our university to challenge you, support you, and prepare you for your future. As you saw in the video, we have over 6,300 international students at the University of Minnesota. This year, we are expecting over 550 new international graduate students to join our university. You will be a part of a talented, creative, and passionate international community. So our department, International Student and Scholar Services, or it's also called ISSS, is the department on campus that works with all international students. Our role is to provide advising to students who have a visa to study in the US. We also provide academic and personal counseling and programs for students to engage and meet each other. So ISSS's goal is to support you. Today, I am so delighted that several staff from many other departments around the university are joining us to share up-to-date information with you. We understand that each of you are navigating great challenges during the pandemic. And some of you may have concerns about whether or not you can arrive at the university in time for this fall semester. We just want you to know that University of Leadership is aware of the challenges that many of our international students are facing, and they're working on developing online course options for those students who simply cannot arrive in the fall, but want to start their University of Minnesota experience. And Lisa will be talking a little bit about that in just a few minutes. As you have shown so far, you have great strength and perseverance to pursue your academic goals. We want you to know that our goal, regardless of if you begin online, but our hope, of course, is that you can be here in person in the fall. And we want you to be able to join the fall semester excited, feeling ready, and open to new experiences in your academic journey. So now I'd like to introduce Catherine Harrison from the Health Emergency Response Office at the University of Minnesota. And she'll talk about something that I think many of us, and especially you, have on your mind right now, which is what is the health and safety, what is health and safety like at the University of Minnesota right now? So Catherine, I'll go ahead and bring up the slide and pass it on to you.
Thank you, Beth, and welcome everyone. I am so honored to be here with you today to share a little bit about health and safety on campus. As Beth mentioned, my name is Catherine Harrison. I am a registered nurse with the Health Emergency Response Office. That means that me and the other folks in my office have been working over the last 16 months almost on mostly the COVID pandemic, but we also manage other emergencies on campus. We work very closely with the folks at Boynton Health, which is the healthcare provider here on campus. And so I'm going to share just a little bit today about, the context here, as you're probably experienced in your own home countries. COVID has been an incredibly challenging and stressful time, but we do see brighter days ahead, and you should feel assured that the university continues to create as safe an environment as possible for all students, staff, and faculty. So just looking at COVID on campus, since March of 2020, when this all kind of first really hit us, we've had 1,412 positive cases of COVID on campus. In the past week, as we keep a weekly dashboard of cases, we've only had 2 cases among our university community. Cases peaked around November of this past year, 2020. And as I mentioned, we have a campus dashboard where you can explore lots of numbers going back weekly since the beginning of the pandemic to see how the university has been impacted. The even better news than falling cases is that our vaccination rate on campus is very high. We see that about 93% of all students, staff, and faculty have had at least 1 dose of a vaccine. And here in America, we have 3 options available: Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. And then 84% of campus has received their full vaccination regimen. So either 2 doses or the 1 dose of Johnson & Johnson. The state is also looking good. We see that our cases in the state are the lowest that they've been since September of 2020, which was a low point in the state in terms of the number of people infected. And the cases in the state also peaked in November. So things continue to go down. Hospitalizations are down. Fortunately, the number of deaths are falling. So that is all great news. Vaccinations are also really strong across the state. We have 64% of people age 16 and older who have gotten at least 1 dose. And then another 57% have been fully vaccinated. So these are all wonderfully reassuring numbers, and we're beginning to feel better every day about what the future holds for the pandemic. We can go to the next slide. That said, we know we're not out of the woods yet. So should you need services, and the campus will remain vigilant, but should you need services, on campus, we're here for you. We have testing available by appointment, which is very easy to make online or by calling Boynton Health. And the M-Test, as we call it, is available every day at the Recreation and Wellness Center. So it's easy to make an appointment. You go in, you get tested. It's a PCR test. It's very reliable. And you can get your results quickly directly through the university. Then we also have vaccination. So at this time, there is no requirement from the state to be vaccinated. There's no government mandate or requirement for everyone to be vaccinated. The university will be making its decision and announcing it on June 1st. So we'll have more information at the next webinar, as Beth mentioned, and we'll have lots of communications coming to you about that. In the meantime, we recommend that you get vaccinated as soon as possible if you're able to in your home country with whatever product is available to you. We don't have any restrictions at this time and don't anticipate any on which type of vaccine will be accepted by the university. So eventually, starting in maybe 3 weeks, vaccines will be available at Boynton Health. You'll be able to get the vaccine if you're at the clinic for another visit, or if you want to come in and just get the vaccine just for that reason. There will be updates on Boynton's website about how much vaccine is available each week. So you'll be able to check that and then make a phone call to come in and get a vaccine appointment. So that will also be an option to you. It's open to all international students, just like all students. And again, we're here for you in these still unprecedented times. And with that, I will pass it over to Lisa to share a little bit about the admissions. And she's from the Partner Office of Orientation and Transition Experiences. Lisa?
Thank you so much, Catherine. Good morning, everyone. On this screen, you can see that there is a little checklist. As you all have known, in preparing to come to the university, you have been required to complete what is called the new student checklist. And this is kind of just referencing some of those things on the new student checklist. You have all confirmed your enrollment. We know that you are accepted your admission to the university. But some things we want to make sure that you are doing is making sure you have activated your U of M email account, because you are receiving a lot of emails in that account currently. We're also sending them right now to your home email, but you pretty soon we will only be communicating to your U of M email starting on the first day of the semester. You have to complete that new student checklist, which we're going to talk about more in a minute. And that checklist, you will select your orientation date. And of course, on that checklist also was the International Student Prep course. And all of these things are going to be required in order for you to be able to register and get your registration holds removed. So let's go to the next slide and we'll look a little bit more closely at that. Thank you. So I'm hoping everyone has started their new student checklist, because this is really the next big step. If you haven't started this yet, this is where we are collecting information for you about you so that we can register you for your fall semester classes. So on that first step of the new student checklist, you'll take what's called the Tell Us About Yourself survey. And this is what is giving your academic advisor the information they need to support you through the registration process. It's going to ask you some common questions that we collect from all students, but then it's going to give you the opportunity to let your academic advisor know anything special about your circumstance. So for example, if you're concerned about getting your visa to arrive in the country, you'll have the opportunity to also let them know in that survey about that. Other steps on that checklist include your orientation prep course. This is a Canvas course. It has 4 components, and this is required before you can attend your orientation date. So on that new student checklist, I'm hoping everyone has selected an orientation date so you can register for your classes, and then you'll be able to do that orientation prep course. It just needs to be done the day before your orientation. So it's really important that you get that done, because a lot of the information at orientation, the colleges and our office, Orientation and Transition Experience, is expecting you to have reviewed it so that the orientation day can go very smoothly for you. Of course, orientation is being held virtually this summer because we haven't been able to get together yet. We're all, as you can maybe tell by some of our backgrounds, still working from home at the university. On your orientation date, just before your orientation date, you're going to get an email from my department that is going to give you information about how to access your orientation hub. I've put the link in here at orientation.umn.edu, but this hub won't be available just yet. So if you go there, it really won't show you very much. But this is where all of your Zoom links for your orientation day will be found. So just like we're in Zoom now, that is how your orientation day is going to run. You should expect to be connected from about 8:30 Minneapolis time until your orientation day is done. Now, for international students, we have really worked hard to make sure that we're doing sessions for you in a time that is not inconvenient. And so for some of you, you may have the first part of your orientation date in the evening, and then your advisement and registration the next morning. So your orientation date could actually split days just based on the schedule, because we want to make sure that you're getting a good night's sleep before that advising appointment. So just pay attention to the orientation hub. On the orientation hub itself, it will give you the time in your time zone, not in Minneapolis time zone. So when you look at the hub, you will see that it says the standard time in your area. So we'll show you all these examples in our next webinar. And then just to let you know, the last component of the orientation are our Gopher Friday sessions, where we'll have live presentations from our campus partners like ISSS, as well as housing, our one-stop student services, which covers our billing. There will be sessions for families that are specifically for families. So there's a lot of sessions that will be available, and you can see all of that content on our website. I think that's it for me right now. Families, for those of you who are families that are with us, we will have a remote orientation for you as well, and a resource page. And we're going to cover all of that in our next webinar on the 4th. So I'm going to turn it back to Beth.
Great. Well, thank you, Lisa. And again, if you're confused by any of this or want more, I'm really thrilled that Lisa's going to be back at our next webinar to talk more about this. So the other thing is that in your new student checklist, you will see that one of the steps is to complete the International Student Preparation course. This course is designed specifically for international students and the questions that international students have. So it's all the way from welcome, before you arrive, after you arrive, and there's a little bit in there about how to prepare for classes and what are the roles of some of the people that you will meet at orientation. Academic culture, employment, which a lot of you have questions about. Can I work on campus? If I can, how many hours per week? Information about travel as well, and cultural adjustment. So we had to wait because we had some new immigration guidelines. So though that wasn't available right away, but it is now live. So please go back to the checklist and complete this course before your selected orientation date. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead now and pass it over to Grace Machoki from International Student and Scholar Services.
Thank you, Beth. And so as Beth mentioned, my name is Grace Machoki. I'm an Assistant Director of Advising at the International Student and Scholar Services, ISSS. And I'm really excited to be here with you today to share a little bit about some things that you would be maybe wondering about around your immigration status. So as an international student, registration is absolutely important, because that is one way you're able to maintain your visa status if you're here in the United States. So for this academic year for 21, spring 2022, the US Department of Homeland Security, or the US government, is allowing international students the ability to take classes online or hybrid classes, or inside the US or outside the US during the pandemic. This means that if you are an international student who is planning to enter the US for the first time to begin your program in person in the US, you will be required to take at least one in-person class or hybrid class. So this means that if you're entering the US for the first time, you cannot be taking all classes online. However, for students who are abroad, those who are for some reason you choose maybe to take your classes from home, or maybe circumstances around visas and travel will not work for you, and your only option is to take classes from home, you can absolutely take all those classes online. So that is the distinction around taking classes online and in person. And I know this can be a little bit confusing, but again, we are here to answer your questions, and we'll be giving you our contact information on how to reach us if you have more questions. So this is a really, really good flexibility that the US government is giving international students, and we are happy to support you to make sure that if you're able to come to the US, you're able to do that in one in-person class, or if you're staying abroad, you can take classes online as well. And then another thing I wanted to touch on is as much as, COVID, pandemic situation is improving in the US, as Catherine was sharing, we do understand that it's not the same case for many other parts of the world. So we are aware that you might be experiencing difficulties, especially scheduling visa appointments. And because different countries the embassies are operating based on what their conditions are around COVID. So we just want to encourage you to be patient, but also to keep, visiting the embassy websites, checking availability for visa appointments as much as you can, so that you're able to schedule yourself an appointment as soon as that opening is available. Also, there's the ability to check if there is a way you can apply for an emergency visa to come to study in the US. That information will be available in the US Embassy in your home country. And again, the reality is COVID is here, and it's definitely impacting how things are being done in different offices. So if you're not able to make it to campus this year, please just, if your travel plans to campus changes because of these challenges, we want you to inform us. So contact your academic program where you've been admitted, the admissions office, and we'll be giving all these contacts for you so that you can let them know of the changes in your arrival plans. And they will be able to help you with options of either deferring to next spring or the following fall, or other options that you might make sense for you to study in the next academic year. For me, I'm a former international student, so I can definitely see and I imagine the concerns and anxiety that comes with planning to travel to the US, especially for the first time. And I really need to start your program right away. But we know the pandemic has changed things, and I just want to encourage you to know that if you're not able to make it this fall, we are absolutely ready to welcome you in future semesters when you're able to come. I know waiting for 1 year, for 2 semesters, or for a semester to begin a program can be really hard, but remember, we are all, we will be strong, coming through this pandemic. And for us as staff in ISSS and the other offices that are here today, we'll be happy to support you when you arrive, even though it's not this fall. So I just wanted to encourage you with that, but we are hopeful that things are going to be changing and you will be able to be on campus as needed. So one way you can stay connected with us definitely is sending emails to the issnew@umn.edu. That is an email that is supported through ISSS, but also you have academic advisors, most probably you've been in contact with, the admissions office that you got admission through, you can contact them as well. So thank you, and I'll pass it back to Beth.
Yeah, and I just wanted to mention another thing. You'll see a screenshot on the side. We do have a website specifically for new international students. And then we hope that you've had a chance to go to this website. One of the things that you'll see that we have is on the far right side of the screen is there's answers to frequently, oops, I just clicked on the wrong thing. How do I go back? We have answers to frequently asked questions. And in our follow-up email, we will, oh darn it, I don't know how to go back. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second to go back. But we have a document called Frequently Asked Questions, and we're going to send that in a follow-up email. And please look at those frequently asked questions, because if you have this question, many other students have that question, and we've prepared that document. So we'll send that in the follow-up email. Alex, I'll turn it over to you, and I'll bring back up the slide.
You're muted.
Oh, terrific. Welcome. So, all right, as the slide is coming up, we are now going to introduce our Q&A session. So reminder, just to use the Q&A function to submit questions. You can find the Q&A function down at the bottom right-hand corner of your Zoom screen. It says Q&A, which means questions and answers. Many of you have used the Q&A function already, and you can submit questions with your name attached, which could be helpful if we need to do some follow-up with you, or you can ask anonymous questions as well. Also, take a look at your the answered questions to see if somebody has already asked your question or asked the question that you had, and our team here has answered the question. So that is our Q&A function. We may not be able to address all questions as they're coming in right now, but we will have, we'll research questions and update that information on the FAQ, which means frequently asked questions document that Beth shared with you. And I think our team member, Dr. Shi Yu, also shared that with you in the chat. So please take a few moments to review the answered questions in Q&A and ask any additional questions you have here using that function.
Great. So we're going to go ahead and get into the questions that were submitted during your registration process. Alex, I can't share screen and look at the questions. So if you'd be able to share the screen with the panelists, because we have some new people that you have not met yet. One of the people you haven't met yet is from our Office of Undergraduate Admissions, Jenny Mealy. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you a few questions, Jenny. The first one is, how are international students supposed to submit their final transcripts?
Thank you for that question, Beth. And first of all, I want to say good morning from Minnesota. I am very pleased to be here. And while I can't see you all, I know that it's a virtual connection that we're making. And I know that students and their families have lots of questions right now. So if you are still completing your secondary school, you know that one of the requirements for enrolling is your final educational documents. This is a requirement with the Office of Admissions. And we know, as everyone has been saying, as we've been going through this, that people have been impacted differently by COVID-19 around the world. We are aware of a lot of these impacts on exam results, final educational documents. However, not every single case might be the same, and things change quickly, don't they? So we will work with students individually on how and when to submit their final educational documents. So if you're concerned that you will not be getting your, for example, your final exam results until a certain date, we are able to adjust for you the due date for your final educational documents. So I want to reassure you that we are aware of a lot of the challenges and that admissions will work with you. So please reach out to us we can add to the chat admissions@umn.edu, and your questions will be answered promptly. And we will again be able to customize your due dates by when you will be getting your documents. If you applied through Common App, which a lot of students did, you can have your school send your final documents through Common App, whichever vendor they use to connect with Common App. Or depending upon what you're sending, you can send it by snail mail, as we call it, or the postal service, or there may be other paths or other vendors. So again, please contact admissions and we'll work with you on your case to make sure that you know the answer to your question. Thanks.
Great, Jenny. And there was one follow-up around what if a student isn't able to get those until let's say August? So it's a same situation, keep you up to date?
Yep, keep us up to date. Like I said, we'll adjust due dates, and we are aware, for example, we know that international baccalaureate results come out in early July. We know that A-level results generally come out in early to mid-August. So we are aware of a number of those different dates. And we're also aware of the impact in India and Pakistan of possible delays in getting your final results. So yes, contact us and we will work with you. I also want to add, although we are not encouraging this, Grace was mentioning that if you are unable to come to campus for fall semester, admissions will offer you as a freshman, please, freshman only, sorry, not transfer, and grad students need to work with the grad school, the opportunity to defer your admission either to spring term, which starts in January, or next fall term. So that's also an option if you and your family feel that might be better for you.
Great. Thanks, Jenny. And one question we've been getting also is, can you talk about scholarships and how that works for students who are looking for scholarships?
Sure. The University of Minnesota has a wonderful resource available through One Stop, and I'll add that particular page to the chat so that you can see it, that talks about scholarship opportunities once you are a current student at the University of Minnesota. These apply to undergraduate students. So it is where we sort of have collected up all the resources available for different scholarship opportunities. Often these are in your college, but they might be other opportunities around campus for scholarships for enrolled students. So I will add that to the chat.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jenny. So the next question that I have, so many of you may know that on June 1st is the deadline for on-campus housing to pay your guarantee fee in order to secure on-campus housing. But we do have a few questions, so I'm going to ask Lisa about a few housing questions. So the first one, Lisa, is: are freshmen guaranteed to have on-campus housing if applied?
That's a great question. And it is a two-step process. So applying for housing is the first step. The second step is paying your housing guarantee payment, which Beth just referred to. That deadline has been extended till June 1st. That payment is $280 US. If you make that payment, then yes, you are guaranteed housing. If you do not make that payment by June 1st, then you would be put on a wait list. So we encourage all international students to live on campus. It's a great experience, and then you don't have to worry about trying to find housing, and it's just provided for you.
And here's another great question. What if, are there any changes to how housing is going to operate for fall 2021? Are you able to answer that?
Yeah, there's not a lot of changes happening. The students will be in mostly singles or doubles. So one, you'll be in a room by yourself or with a roommate. The vast majority are going to be roomed with someone else. There will be spaces set aside for if someone needs to quarantine, but not as many as what we had to do this past year, because our as we were talking about earlier, our vaccination rates are just so high that we're hoping that won't be as much of a concern in the fall. So really not a lot of changes with housing, other than we historically have had maybe people with 3 and 4 roommates, but that won't be the case this next year at this time.
Great. And then the next question I'm going to have Marina Uhara, who you have not met, and I hope you introduce yourself, Marina, and you'll get to know Marina very well over the summer. Marina works with our on-campus housing office. So Marina, when can international undergraduate students move into the residence halls?
Great. Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Marina. I use she, her pronouns, and hopefully I'll be seeing all of you at the Global Gopher event. And I'm super excited that you're all here today. Thanks, Beth, for the intro. So we've talked to, one of the questions that's on the Q&A is if students can move early to some sort of temporary housing. So there is something called the International Early Arrival Housing, and I'm going to be sending out the link. Students can register, new students can register for it starting on June 1st. And you can live there up until you can move to your assigned housing. So if you are, if you apply for an LLC, live and learn community, you should be hearing from Housing and Rest Live of a confirmation around June 7th. And then for all students that have signed up for on-campus housing, you should be hearing sometime around the end of July with additional information of where you're going to be moving and when you should be moving. That typically happens sometime around the end of August, around August 27. That day's yet to be confirmed, but I'm hoping we'll get more confirmed, more updated information pretty soon in the next few weeks. So.
Great, thanks, Marina. And so, yes, you'll be getting a lot of emails in the next couple of months. So be sure to check that, because all these questions you're asking there will be follow-up information in emails. So I'm going to ask Grace, can you just do an overview of what are the steps that students need to take to receive an F1 student visa? And do you have any tips in that process?
Sure. So to receive an F1 student visa absolutely requires that you have the immigration document, which is known as I-20. And so the I-20 is issued to you after you have confirmed attendance at the university. And we have a team that processes those I-20s. Therefore, if you haven't received an I-20 yet, we would like to hear from you, and the email that you would send the request for the I-20 is the issnew@umn.edu. Once you receive that I-20, then you would need to go through the US Embassy website for the location nearest to you. And there's an application process that you can do. There's an online form that you fill out, which is known as a DS-160. That document tells you what you need to provide to the US Embassy in order for you to secure an appointment. Great. So once you have completed that online document through the US Embassy, at the end of the submitting that application, you will be provided an interview date if it's available. And so that is the process. And I think the biggest challenge with visa interviews really is preparing for that interview at the embassy with a consular official. I think my encouragement for you is to go in confident, to answer questions as you understand them. One thing that the embassy officials are looking to see is really to see someone who is able to explain where they're going, what they're going to be studying, and to really show confidence that you're prepared, to come to a United States college. The embassy officials make the decision based on an interview as well as on the documents that you have. So really being prepared with your documents, being prepared with your interview skills, just showing confidence, and being ready just to really share your plans for studying in the US. I feel like those are the basic the basic information that students will need to apply for a visa.
Great, and I want to give time because we do have students who are our student leaders who have joined us today. So I'm going to ask one question more, Grace, and if you could, we'll just, and then we'll leave time for our student leaders, which is I'm concerned about processing my visa in time to make it to Welcome Week or to the beginning of school. What should I do if I don't get my visa or if I'm delayed?
Yeah, that's a good question, and absolutely one that we are hearing a lot, again, because there are embassies that are not, have very limited appointment slots. In case you're in a country where you're not able to get the interview on time to be here, again, would love to hear from you so that, and when I say would love to hear from you, is to hear the experiences that you have, so that we can help you plan if either to defer to the next semester, as Jenny was saying, or if you would, want to start your classes from home, or any other things that we can help you with. One thing is, as a university, we do not have any special influence with the US embassies, unfortunately. I wish we had, but we don't. So we are not able to provide much support if there isn't an appointment available, or maybe they're looking for information that we are not able to provide as a university, because sometimes, again, they are looking to you during the interview to provide that information. So if you're not able to get a visa this year, we would like for you to contact the program that admitted you, also contact ISSS new at umn.edu to let us know so that we can help you with the next steps for either preparing to come in the future or starting classes from home.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Grace. So now we get to the more exciting piece of our webinar together, which is we are going to introduce you to some of our student leaders who you will be meeting over the summer. So the first question I have for one of our student leaders is, what are the ways students can commute to campus? Is it possible to use an electric scooter with you? Or what are the different ways that you see that students travel to the University of Minnesota? So I'm going to Key, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself and share your perspective, that would be great.
Yes, thank you for the question, Beth. So my name is Key, and I'm currently a senior at the U, major in developmental psychology. To answer this question, I think that for the first year international students, they can commute to campus by walking, biking, light rail, campus connector, and campus circulator. So the Metro Green Line is free and available from West Bank to Prospect Park Station for students. The campus connector and campus circulator connect students between West Bank, East Bank, and St. Paul campus. And yes, it is possible to use electric scooters. Some rent electrical scooter is available around the campus by using the app like Lyft and Lime. It's cost around $1 to unlock in Minneapolis and 15 cents per minute. What you say?
Thank you, Key. So the next question I will ask Ray, a really important question that I know you're all thinking about it, which is, what do you need to bring with you to campus? Ray, what from your experience, how would you answer that question? And please introduce yourself.
Sure, thank you, Beth. Hi everyone, my name is Ray. I'm currently a junior majoring in psychology. From my perspective, the most important thing is to complete the checklist and bring your documentation when you come to arrive to the US. And don't worry too much about what to bring, because a lot of things actually you can buy from here, and not bring them is kind of a burden. So another very important thing that you do is get your U card as soon as you arrive, because it's very important when you're going on campus is crucial for access to some buildings, and also you can use them to pay some restaurant that is on campus. So I heard a lot of you that scared about winter. It heard it's very cold. Here's a session about global gopher events that helping you prepare when you when the winter is come. And please feel free to watch it. Yeah.
I need to unmute. Thank you, Ray. I think you're going to also take the next question that was submitted, which is, what do I need to do to prepare for my study at Minnesota? What are your thoughts on that, Ray?
Definitely, we need to introduce the Canvas, which is a system that you receive assignments, also sprint assignments, and connect with professor and TAs, which at the beginning of the class, there was a syllabus, and it will contain all the important days, such as exam days, assignments due days, and that is very important. Please review it before the class begins. And definitely there are a lot of useful resources for you to study. There are libraries, smart learning, and tutoring that will help you to the problems that you don't understand in the class. Also, you can connect with your professor and TAs. They are very important when you're facing questions or you didn't understand what they're talking.
Great. And what does TA mean, Ray?
A teaching assistant. They're usually grading your assignment. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, TAs or teaching assistants are a really big part of the University of Minnesota community. And Ray, is your experience, do you work with the TAs quite a bit?
Yeah. When you don't have the question, when you have the questions, you're free to ask them. They are willing to help and providing solutions or the way to solve the problem. Yeah.
Great. And Ray mentioned Canvas. And so it's Canvas, as we've said, the International Student Preparation course is in a Canvas platform, and so is the orientation preparation course. So we used it to create these orientations, but your professors and your teaching assistants will use that exact same platform to for their classes. So getting used to using that Canvas course is really helpful, and you can look through it, you can check your settings. You can record your name so that people know how to pronounce your name. So it's really a good idea to do a little research on that Canvas course. So that's a really great point, Ray. So on the last question that we have, let me go over here. It's a really good one, which is, what are some ways to get connected with other students? Louise, can you introduce yourself and say what from your experience?
Hi everyone, my name is Louise and I'm one of your orientation leaders for this year. For this question, I want to answer it in two ways. One is in a personal way and the other is in professional ways. So I believe that in a personal way, I think the best way is to get in class and meet your classmates. Usually in a semester for me, I get to meet one or two students from a class that you just click and you review your class together and you prepare your homework together, and maybe you can get to work in a group and prepare for a project. This is one of the relationship that builds on and actually lasts. And another thing I believe is to join the student group. I'm one of the student officers on campus, and a student group is really the best way to stay within a circle of friends that you have common interest in, and yeah, that has been proven really helpful to me. I think in terms of professional ways, professional connections, one way is to get to office hours, of course. of your TAs or your professors. Go into their office hours, talk to them about you so that they can maybe, oh, for example, here's a good one. For example, if I say, oh, I wanted to get a job as a research assistant. So if you tell this to your professor or TA, if they get an opportunity, they will get the opportunity to you because they know that about you. Another thing is there are multiple tutoring sessions and workshops on campus, either from a specific class or the Smart Learning Comms, which tutors your classes and actually saved my life when I was a sophomore. So another thing that I believe is to go to network sessions, like maybe there's a virtual workshops to meet employers, meet professors, and those are great ways to stay connected. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Louise. And I think you'll have a chance to meet Louise during your orientation. So if you come back for nothing else for orientation, it's to meet Louise. I just want to check. We have some wonderful people who have been answering questions through the question and answer function. So I want to just check with some of them and see if there's any questions that came out in the question and answer that you think one of the panelists could answer live.
Thanks, Beth. KB and I and the rest of the panelists today have been answering the questions quite quickly. We have answered most of them, and we're in the process of answering all of the questions. But I guess one of the questions we could ask for our student leaders is, what is it like to take classes at the University of Minnesota? So maybe we can have the three of our leaders share a little bit about their experiences, and I can maybe start with Key, and then maybe Ray, and then Louise. Key, please go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yes. So I'm sorry for the noise, but yeah, my experience to take class at the U is wonderful. Even in person or like online. I feel like the professor and also the TA really supportive. They reply the email and even they give me their phone call to like call them 24/7. I feel awkward when call, but they say that because we live in right now we own like online platform, so they would not be able to like check the email all the time because they also have their family member there. So yeah, and I actually called once and they really supported of that. So I recommend if you continue online class, don't be afraid to like reach out to them, even email or phone call. And yeah, I will pass on to Ray.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Keith said. They're very supportive, and from my experience, I prefer in-person class since you get more involved with the professor in person. With in-person, there's not such a barrier because when you get through the screen, sometimes you don't feel anything from the other side. But after all, the online experience also great that you can manage the time by yourself and find out the time to balance your work and your study and your free time. And that's the experience that I haven't experienced before. And yeah, I'll pass it to Louise.
Okay. I think you all have said what I wanted to say. So I think one thing I want to add on is that actually there is a variety of environments you can switch up to, because I have been really into like studying alone for the first 2 years of my college. I'm turning senior. I forgot to introduce. I'm turning senior. I'm in developmental psychology too. So for the first 2 years, I just thought that, oh, there's no fun places on campus because all I see are libraries and study places. And actually, in the third year, I joined a student group, and there is this very social person in our student group, and he's showing me that there are actually like fun places to relax on campus. So it would be like, for me, it's if you want to find a place to study, and of course there are more than enough places to stay, but if you want to relax and enjoy yourself with friends, that is also widely available. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Louise. So Alex, any remaining words? It's 9 o'clock. Anything else to share? You're muted. It happened.
Yes, of course, the Zoom. Okay, yeah, just wanted to ask everybody to stay connected with admissions, orientation, and transfer experiences, and international student and scholar services. We strive to provide timely information to you during this pandemic through updates, and be sure to be checking your University of Minnesota official email address. And so on behalf of the university, we thank you for choosing us and choosing to be a Gopher, our official mascot. And now to learn a little bit more about our official mascot, my colleague Beth Isensee has a special video for all of you.
I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it. I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, 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 come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance. Oh, yeah, yeah. I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. Ain't nobody leaving, so keep dancing. Everybody say.
You'll be able to see Goldie and so much more. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for attending. We'll see you on the 4th for our next webinar series.